Welcome back, guardians of truth and seasoned navigators of the glittering, treacherous sea that is fame. This is Whispers of Turkish Stars, the place where we don't scratch at the surface for clicks, we plunge beneath it to bring back the whispers that matter. The narrative of celebrity love is a living creature, tender one day and merciless the next. It builds fairy tales at dawn and signs breakup declarations by midnight. And today, the spotlight swings to a pair whose chemistry once set living rooms ablaze and whose silence has driven the rumor machine to thunderous volume, Akın and Ebru. When everyone had already engraved the epitaph of their romance, a single picture flashed like lightning and rewrote the script in an instant. Before we unfurl the full story behind that image, strengthen our little constellation. Subscribe, ring that bell so you never miss a whisper, and tap like if you appreciate the courage to follow a story all the way into the dark. For those who want to become true producers of this channel's heartbeat, the join button is not a gate, it's a key. In the last few weeks, the narrative turned as bleak as a winter coastline. The two stars who once brought a sweeping love to life on screen, who watched fiction blur into late-night messages and shared smiles, seemed to vanish from each other's orbit. Their social media desert stretched on without a trace of mutual warmth. Promoters whispered, stylists dodged questions, and the tabloids, emboldened by absence, declared the end in grand, doom-laden italics. We heard it all. The supposed final, absolute, irreversible end, the claims that they would not cross paths again even by accident. The echo grew so loud that people stopped asking whether it was true and simply asked how long it had been true. You know how it goes in our world. The distance between two public figures quickly becomes a canyon, a missed birthday post becomes a manifesto, one interview shift of the eyes morphs into a confession. The couple who had once commandeered primetime with a love that felt larger than life, who had been analyzed frame by fans who swore they could read sincerity in a glance, suddenly had their silence framed as an obituary. Analysts drew charts. Body language experts explained the weight of a shoulder. And the bulk of popular opinion concluded that the romance had been retired into memory. Then, as if the universe remembered how to tease, a photograph appeared and everything changed. It did not arrive with a press release or a glossy campaign. It was, at first glance, a simple moment, unguarded, the kind of soft, everyday life that celebrities almost never get to keep. Akın and Ebru together. No grand gestures. No choreographed PR glow. Just a gentle closeness, a shared ease, a light on both of their faces that looked painfully real. The image raced across social media veins at breakneck speed. And with it came a flood of interpretations, arguments, and a tidal wave of hope from those who never signed the breakup papers in their hearts. What gives this photograph its charge isn't merely that they are within the same frame. It is the air around them, that unforced ease. The small softness in the eyes. The kind of smile that people don't manufacture in a hotel lobby for the cameras. The experts stepped forward again, now with a very different symphony. A relaxed alignment of bodies, a quiet sincerity in posture, the subtle tilt of heads suggesting a comfort only years can teach. They called it a signal, not a stunt. And suddenly, the supposed ruins looked more like a fortress. The deeper murmur from sources who actually traced their circles suggests that nothing apocalyptic ever ignited behind the scenes. If there was a storm, it was not the kind that tears down houses, it was the kind that reminds you to reinforce the windows. The claim now gaining altitude is simpler and far more human. They chose to keep their private lives shielded because the attention had become blinding, not flattering. The glare was stealing the color from the rest of their world, and they refused to let their work or their peace be leached away. They took a step back from being seen together, not as a goodbye, but as a promise to protect something fragile and precious. This is not unprecedented. Between new scripts, meetings at odd hours, and endless production schedules, their days were already tight. Ebru has been said to be immersed in demanding preparations, serious talks that will shape her next chapter. Akın, too, has been charting an ambitious course, weighing roles with the care of a chess player. Add to that the hunger of the spotlight and you have a planet that never sleeps. It is no wonder a pact could have been formed. Keep the relationship sacred, keep it away from the circus, and refuse to let public curiosity dictate private cadence. They did not vanish, they simply chose their places carefully. When the photo surfaced, the internet didn't just wake up, it howled. Part of the fandom felt vindicated, crying out that the whispers of doom were nothing but a trick of the echo chamber. Others, skeptical, scarred by too many false dawns, wondered whether the photo was old. Perhaps a relic, they mused, or a well-timed leak designed to soothe. A fierce debate ignited that only seemed to feed the image's power. Each pixel became a courtroom. Each gesture, a testimony. But if you listen carefully to the drumbeat in gossip circles today, the rhythm has changed. The conviction that the romance had perished has loosened its grip. The dominant mood is now a bright, teasing question mark. Are we witnessing a single, lucky capture, or the first note of a new era for Akın and Ebru as a public couple? Would they, after guarding their love with monastic discipline, allow a little sunlight to stream in? Or would they, like architects of mystery, retreat again behind the velvet curtain? Because there is another layer to this rumor tapestry, and it's all about boundaries. Fame inflates every step into a leap. A casual look becomes a proclamation. A seat taken on an airplane becomes a breadcrumb. For two artists whose names soared with a story that commanded a nation's evenings, boundaries aren't just sensible, they are oxygen. It is said that they drew a firm line: family, love, the tender core of a life, these remain theirs alone. And once you grasp that intention, the silence begins to sound less like absence and more like resolve. The word from those who truly watched the tides is that communication between them did not snap, not even at the height of speculation. The thread didn't fray, it tightened. They simply refused to turn those hours into the performance everyone demanded. When we look back from the calm vantage point of the photograph, the interpretation shifts. What once looked like a void now reads like strategy: painstaking, disciplined, united. Their choices align in interviews too. Ask about private matters and you get a polite redirection from both, a gentle refusal, nearly identical in rhythm, as if they had practiced the language of peace together. And oh, the photo. Look again and see what so many fans saw: a shoulder-angled not in retreat, but in invitation, a laughter that forgets the presence of any lens, a softness around the mouth corners that actors don't fake when the day is over. For countless believers, this is the final word for now. There is no crisis, just real life, messy and beautiful, happening beyond our screens. None of this means the story has closed its book. If anything, the pages have become richer. The next question is irresistible: do they step out in public again soon, or do they tuck this victory into a quiet drawer and carry on out of sight? There are whispers, always whispers, that another sighting might be close. There are other whispers, more cunning, that the leak itself, whether intentional or not, arrived at precisely the right temperature to cool the fever of speculation and to buy the couple what they needed most: breathing room. Let's not forget the undertow of their history. Their rise together taught millions to believe in a love that could endure storms. That kind of mythology is a double-edged sword. It makes every silence a plot twist, every absence a cliffhanger. But it also gifts them a power that, used carefully, can shield their inner life from those who would pluck it apart thread by thread. If they have chosen to stand hand in hand against the roar, to live on their own schedule rather than whatever the tabloids demand, then this moment feels less like a scandal and more like a lesson in sovereignty. After the photo, fan spaces overflowed. There were joyful tears typed at speed, accusations tossed like confetti, screenshots zoomed until they blurred. And inside that chaos, one sentiment rose again and again: respect their quiet. Many fans insisted that a single clear statement from the couple would lay ghosts to rest, while others argued that silence is not a dodge when used with intention, it is a refuge. The truth is that they owe no one a press conference. Not every door must be opened to prove that a home is warm. Still, human hearts crave clarity. Was this a chance encounter caught at the exact second that hope needed a face? Was it a curated glimpse that admits the reality without surrendering the mystery? Or was it simply two people who decided to stop hiding for one unguarded minute, trusting that the world would be kind? The answers flutter at the edges but never quite settle. Perhaps that's the point. Perhaps the power of their story has always been in the in-between, the way their presence together felt undeniable even when they refused the script everyone tried to hand them. In the broader theater of Turkish entertainment, the message has been heard. Their silence morphs into a statement more commanding than any prepared remarks. It says we will not barter our peace for headlines, we will not add our love to the carnival. And anyone who has ever tried to hold something precious in a storm recognizes that courage. It isn't cold. It is careful. It is choosing what you will live with when the cameras stop and the lights go dark. Now we return to that spark that started all this noise, the photograph that made cynics blink and believers whisper "I told you so." If you hold it gently, you will notice it does not scream. It hums. It hums of private jokes remembered. Of arguments survived and resolved. Of distinct careers, difficult choices, and two steady hands choosing the same rope in a climb that never ends. It hums of an agreement to carry the love, not display it like a trophy. It hums of a tomorrow that will be lived long after the comments section has moved on. So where does this leave us, friends of Whispers of Turkish Stars? At the edge of the same cliff as always, but this time with a cleaner view. We know now that distance isn't always departure, and that quiet isn't always defeat. We know that effort sits beneath every easy smile, and that the strongest bonds are often woven in spaces where we cannot see. We also know that in an age where everything is content, the choice not to provide content can be the loudest declaration of all. Tell us, then, what does your heart say? Is this photograph the undeniable heartbeat of a love that survived the storm, a promise that never died despite the static? Or do you read it as an elegant pause, a deliberate breath to ease the pressure while they attend to the work that feeds their souls? Should they step back into the sun, or keep the shade they've carefully chosen? Talk to us. We read every word. Your theories aren't just noise here. They are the chorus to our investigation, the wind at our back as we climb. As for us, we'll keep watching and listening, not to pry, but to understand the music of their decisions. We'll be ready for the next moment that flutters into public view, another sighting, a half-smile caught through a car window, a laugh shared in the doorway of a familiar cafe. Or perhaps nothing at all, which might be the bravest twist of all. Either way, we'll be here, holding the line between curiosity and care, between attention and intrusion, honoring the rhythm they've chosen while never pretending we are not utterly fascinated by it. Support this space if you want stories told with care. Like the video, share the whisper, and consider joining to unlock the conversations we can't have anywhere else. Subscribe and flick on notifications, because in the world of Akın Akinozu and Ebru Sahin, a single second can turn a rumor into revelation. The photo that stunned 1,000 headlines is only a page, not the book. And whether the next chapter opens on a red carpet or in a quiet room with no cameras at all, we'll be ready to follow the truth wherever it leads. Until next time, take good care of your hearts. Protect your peace like treasure. And keep your ear close to the softest sounds, because the clearest truths don't always shout. Here at Whispers of Turkish Stars, we don't chase noise. We listen for the music. And tonight, whether the city sleeps or scrolls, the tune playing for Akın and Ebru is gentle, steady, and beautifully, defiantly alive.